Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. And I am your host, Conrad Cushman, and I am here to give my preview and predictions for WWE Backlash. The WWE has done a horrible job promoting Backlash. At this point, I think WWE spent all of their time promoting the greatest Royal Rumble that they forgot a week later that they have Backlash as an event to promote. Now, I know some people are going to say that, well, they promoted Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Yes, I understand that. But there are other matches on the card that have been shown no attention until this week. And I think that is going to hurt fans' excitement for the show. But on the flip side of things, going into the show, we do have some matches that look like they could have some great match quality to them. And we're going to talk about each of those in the previews and predictions for this show. At this moment, I'm not too sure what the pre-show matches are going to be or what's going to open up the show. It could be a handful of matches now that the shows are dual branded. But I do believe the opening contest should be Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Seth Rollins has done an amazing job since becoming Intercontinental Champion, and I think that that match with Finn Balor on Monday shows that he should be back in the main event picture very soon. But I also feel the same for The Miz. The Miz has done a tremendous job with building his character up, and I think that the fans are salivating for him and Daniel Bryan to start their feud. Is it time for them to start teasing it yet? No, I think you still have some time before the Miz and Daniel Bryan feud actually happens. And we'll get into Daniel Bryan's match later on. But as far as Seth Rollins versus The Miz, I think this is a pretty easy one to figure out, guys. Seth Rollins can't lose the Intercontinental Championship because he's on Raw, Miz is on SmackDown. Seth Rollins needs this victory, and I think he'll get it. It doesn't hurt The Miz at this point to lose, and Seth Rollins gets up the victory and continues his feud with Finn Balor over on the Raw side. Next up, guys, I have the United States Championship being defended. This match will have the current champion, Jeff Hardy, defending his title against Randy Orton. Now, this match is kind of interesting to me. Normally, I'm not the biggest Jeff Hardy fan in the world, but I like the chemistry that Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton have. And if you could, let's take a trip down memory lane for a second to talk about this. Alright guys, the year is 2008, and we are back at the Royal Rumble. And I remember during this time as a young man, which is 10 years ago, that I was enjoying a feud between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. And at that time, I actually wanted to see Jeff Hardy succeed and do well against Randy Orton in that match for the WWE Championship. Now, as we all know, the Royal Rumble event was used at that time as a heat check for someone to see how well they were doing and could they be a person that later on we put in the main event picture. And I think it was that night where Jeff Hardy showed that he could be a main eventer in WWE. The match ended with Jeff Hardy going for a twist of fate, and it was then reversed into an RKO out of nowhere by Randy Orton. Randy Orton picks up the win and goes on to WrestleMania 24. That is something that I think this match could play off of if you are the agent backstage booking it. Man, 2008 was scary. I still had hair and I was 21 years old. Anyway, now that we're getting back into the United States Championship match, I do think at this point in time, Randy Orton is in desperate need of a heel turn. And Jeff Hardy would be the perfect person for him to do it against. And I don't know if they're going to set it up right now at this event, but maybe that's something that you could save for SmackDown Live in the upcoming weeks, because I do feel that they need some more heels on that show. But for right now, I do predict that Jeff Hardy picks up the victory over Randy Orton in what I expect to be a good contest for both gentlemen. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw first. Sami Zayn stole the show in front of his hometown crowd in Montreal. He got a great pop, and so did Kevin Owens. And I just wanted to take the time to acknowledge that. And Montreal, as a crowd, I absolutely loved you guys. And I hope you guys get a big pay-per-view event soon, because you guys were tremendous to watch all night. Now, as far as I'm concerned with Braun Strowman is over, guys. Braun Strowman is the guy I think who needs to defeat Brock Lesnar for the championship. I also want people to know that Bobby Lashley, I don't know, he's not really doing too much for me at this point. I don't know if Bobby Lashley is, I don't know if he's stuck or if he has no charisma. I'm not sure what's going on with him. But him and Braun as a tag team would have been 10 times better than that Nicholas crap we got at WrestleMania, in my opinion. Anywho, I feel like Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley have dominated this feud the entire time. And in this match, I'm going to say we have to give a win to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, in my opinion. But since I'm making a prediction, I don't think WWE is going to do that. I think this is going to feed into a storyline that we go right back to with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens having problems with Kurt Angle as the GM on Monday Night Raw. And it'll lead to some issues with them. So in this match, I see Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman picking up the victory. The leader of the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan, will take on Big Cass this Sunday at Backlash. This match has basically had 2 weeks of build to it. In the first week, I liked Big Cass's promo. He did a good job saying that he used to be like Daniel Bryan. He was a small guy, but then he got big, and it basically made his ego bigger. And he's 7 feet tall. He's not going to take anyone's crap anymore. I get it. But then when they did this week's crappy, simplistic heat that they tried to get on him with a midget of Daniel Bryan coming out, seemed kind of cheesy to me, but I've seen it all before, so whatever. Now, with this match, I do think that they're going to have a really good match. And I don't think that this feud is over either after this match is done. I know that everybody wants to see Daniel Bryan pick up the big victory, but I don't think it's time for that to happen yet. I think you saved this Daniel Bryan versus The Miz feud for SummerSlam. And I have some other things that could lead up into it. And if you guys want a prediction on something else that's happening far away from now, I am going to predict that The Miz will win Money in the Bank. And I am also going to predict that something's going to happen with these two at SummerSlam. Me personally, I would like to see Big Cass and The Miz team up against Daniel Bryan, and he has to find a friend to help him out against those two. But at this point in the game, Big Cass needs this victory. He's the guy that they're putting more money into for the future. Big Cass should come away in this match with a win, and you continue this feud into next month's show. The next match is one that I've been waiting to talk about, and that is Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Now, Samoa Joe has been doing tremendous mic work, and Samoa Joe has basically embarrassed Roman Reigns on the microphone every single time. And how can fans not identify with Samoa Joe? Roman Reigns has been whining and complaining about Brock Lesnar. If you're better than him, just beat him then. But it seems that Roman Reigns has been unable to get the job done. And I like that Samoa Joe has also challenged AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura for whoever wins their match for the WWE Championship. Samoa Joe being moved to SmackDown was one of the best moves that WWE made in the Superstar Shakeup, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see what happens for Joe after this match. Now, with that being said, we're going to have to talk about Roman Reigns too. Roman Reigns has lost once again. He lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and he lost to him in the steel cage match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And I know there was controversy behind it, but at this point, how many title shots is Roman Reigns going to get for the Universal Championship? To me, it's unnecessary at this point for him to get another title shot. And Roman Reigns has dropped in my mind as to where WWE has him in the pecking order of who's the face of the company, who's our main guy. And if it's up to me or the way I'm seeing things based on my knowledge and history of WWE for all these years, I feel that they are comparing him to Braun Strowman at this point to see who could take the belt off of Lesnar. And I think Braun's the guy at this moment. What happens with Roman Reigns? I'm going to give you the easiest answer to say, which is Roman Reigns needs to turn heel from this. Roman Reigns has been crapped on by all the fans, and I do think he is a great wrestler, and I know that maybe that's going to get me some dislikes or some heat, but I don't really care. Roman Reigns puts on good matches, and in my opinion, he always delivers. Is he the best on the microphone? Absolutely not. I think the way his character has been built up is what's hurting him the most. So, with that being said, who wins this match? I'm going to go with what I want to have happen for this one. And I believe after a hard fought back and forth match, Samoa Joe defeats Roman Reigns by hook or by crook, and Samoa Joe is propelled moving forward. And this leaves Roman Reigns basically questioning what's next for him. And then you could build up a storyline for him on Monday, and something has to eventually lead to Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, maybe for a number one contendership match, and Roman ends up turning heel. That's just my opinion on the subject matter. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. At this current moment, this is a tough match to call, in my opinion. I've listened to some other people's opinions on this, and they feel that the women's champion on Raw has to be a heel at the moment. And I don't agree with that fully. Now, this feud has been basically finished, in my opinion, since WrestleMania. And they've been trying to hold on to it with backstage segments with Alexa Bliss called A Moment of Bliss, where she basically says that Nia Jax is a bully. She made fun of her. And then Alexa Bliss proceeds to still dog Nia Jax about her weight, whatever it may be, or make jokes about food. And whatever, fine and dandy. But Nia Jax hasn't done too much to build up this match, and maybe that's partly because the women couldn't compete at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But with this match, I predict Nia Jax is going to get the victory over Alexa Bliss, and you could always change the championship later on if you wanted to. But I still feel that it's Nia's time, and she hasn't done anything to lose it at this point. There's no one who's really outshining her who needs the belt at this moment. The main event. The main event for Backlash, in my opinion, is very simple. It has to be AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship in a no disqualification match. Now, some people are going to argue and say, well, maybe Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns could main event, but I think that it's time for the WWE Championship to main event a show, and I think these two are going to put on a great match once again. Now, I lowered my expectations from what happened at WrestleMania because I thought they were going to put on an absolute classic, and it looks like they held back to tell more of a story about Nakamura turning heel. At the Greatest Royal Rumble, they put on a great match once again, but we knew that this match was going to move forward to the Backlash show. With that being said, AJ Styles Nakamura, I think this will be the best match in their WWE trilogy. I feel that the no disqualification will help bring more intensity to this match and bring something different to it that we haven't seen yet. Now, Nakamura's been hitting several low blows on AJ Styles, and I'm still wondering, AJ man, why haven't you worn a cup yet? Every classic WWE face knows that if a heel keeps low blowing you, you're going to have to wear a cup or put something metal there so that he hurts himself if he goes for the low blow. And I think that's a spot that we're going to see in this main event match because if not, AJ Styles is going to look like an absolute goober. Now, with that being said, we have to talk about Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura, since turning heel, has been absolutely amazing, in my opinion. Nakamura has been one of the best acts to watch on SmackDown. And that is taking nothing away from AJ Styles or Nakamura because in ring they're both great. But Nakamura has really impressed me by turning heel because that was something that I wasn't even thinking about going into WrestleMania. So, this match, like I said, I expect a good match, tremendous back and forth match between both of these guys. And I'm having a hard time deciding who's going to win because with Samoa Joe actually saying he wants the WWE Championship next, it would make sense that a heel Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles, which is a match that I would love to see. We also have Samoa Joe Nakamura, which was great when it happened on NXT, and That's something that I wouldn't mind seeing. Even a triple threat between those guys, man, I think that they could do some tremendous business with that. But at this point, I feel Shinsuke Nakamura has owned being a heel, and he deserves the WWE Championship for right now. Even if that means that they're going to be in a triple threat match or something happens later, it's Nakamura's time to win the WWE Championship. Well, folks, that is my preview and predictions for WWE Backlash. I'm also interested in hearing your predictions for the show. So, wherever you're listening to this audio, please make sure you leave your predictions down below. Now, follow us on social media. On Twitter, we are at EPW Show. On Facebook, we have the Everything Pro Wrestling page and also the Everything Pro Wrestling group, where you can interact with plenty of wrestling fans. And also, guys, make sure you check out our YouTube page. That is in the description box below for you guys to check out. We are also expanding the podcast, guys. You can now listen to us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Casts, and Radio Public, and there should be more to come in the future. Thank you so much for listening to my audio. I greatly appreciate it. Be blessed, guys. We're out. Peace.